beefy.
Generate the necessary enthusiasm that it's going to take to get people out. The Democrats are cynically counting on everyone's desire to remove Trump. All that gives more flashbacks to 2016.
Heavy. Put all the parts and tools out of my closet and into the garage. Before you jack the car up, loosen the 24mm axle bolt and also the 17mm wheel bolts, just enough so that when we lift up the car it's easy to take off. Alright, we're going to work on changing out the shocks, the struts, the wheel bearings in the rear, and all the brakes. And I'm just realizing we got a flat tire. Holy shit, great. Another problem. Beautiful. It's alright, we're gonna get this Jetta right. Start by removing the axle bolt, the 24mm 12-point metric socket. You're gonna want a really long breaker bar. Once you got the axle bolt loose, go ahead and start loosening your wheel bolts before you jack it up. Once you got this side up on the jack stand, move to the other side. So we got the car up on jack stands on both sides. And I'm gonna start taking the wheels off. I'll give you guys a close-up look at what we're dealing with here. Look how old and rusty these rotors are. Disgusting. Man, and this previous owner had quick struts in there. Those are not OEM or quality. I'm putting some Bilsteins in this bitch. And let's go in here and take a look at everything else. All right, once you got your wheel off and you're in here, you're gonna see the sway bar in link attached right here, and you're gonna need a 18mm metric socket to break it loose, like you see here, and a 5mm Allen head to hold the bolt in place while you loosen the nut. Otherwise it'll just spin. And you'll need a 18mm wrench in order to do that. So we're out here working on the Jetta wagon. Got my homie Felipe pulled up with his Golf R. Got the ice cream man out. Might get some ice cream. So fresh. Hello. How are we doing today?
Chilling.
Chilling. About to get ourselves a treat.
Yes, sir. Dude, I want a... Can I get a Mississippi mud sandwich? Mississippi? What you get? Man, I've never seen those wheels that clean.
So you have had no issues with the Golf R yet?
Only cosmetic.
That's it?
Someone fucked up my... I was at a yield. Person was looking at traffic and they just slammed into me. I had to get the entire exhaust replaced up until the downpipe.
Oh shit.
The entire hatch, rear bumper, was like 12 grand worth of work.
But your insurance paid for
Yeah,
it?
her insurance paid for that.
Her insurance.
I took it to a shop and they fucked up the threads on my wheel hub bearing. So I had to get a new wheel hub bearing. Because they just fucked up. I don't know. They lost all the thread. Somehow. Yeah, no mechanical.
Still pretty clean though.
Yeah, for every 35 grand miles, like...
I got the car jacked up, might as well do an oil change. And I got a new oil filter wrench, so it's gonna be a lot easier this time. Definitely get yourself one of these oil filter sockets and make sure you get one that has the metal sticking out. It's reinforced because the other ones suck. In order to start taking the strut out, you're going to want to remove this bracket, remove this wire, and then I think it's easier to take that bolt off. Once you have that bracket off, you're going to need a 14mm triple square bolt and a 18mm metric socket and ratchets to take off that bolt. And then once you do that, you're gonna go underneath and take out these 3 nuts, and then you're gonna go on top, remove the upper 3 nuts, and then the whole strut assembly shall come out. So once you get up top, take your trim piece off to get access to the 10mm bolts. Just use that extension to hold it up. Once you remove the top bolts, you're going to want to use a strut spreader bit to go on the back side and spread the mounting point for the strut so you can pull it out easier.
Say that 10 times fast. Spread the strut.
It's kind of hard to get to. No, I got it. Now we're gonna remove the axle nut and pull the strut out. So in order to get the strut in, we used the strut spreader, but it wasn't opening up the knuckle enough, so we used the penny and the strut spreader bit, and it was able to open it up enough.
But now
what?
the penny is stuck.
Penny's stuck in there. We
We
gotta
might
get the
leave it
penny
in
out.
there.
Sure, when you install the pads that the one with the sensor goes on the left side. Right here to this guy. Tools you're gonna need to change your brake pads and rotors. You're gonna start with a T45. You go back in here on this side and remove both of these rubber caps. One on the top, one on the bottom. And then use a T45 to break these free. And then you're gonna use a T30 to get this rotor loose. And then when that's loose, just whack it with a hammer. And then to break the caliper bracket bolts loose, you're gonna need a 21 millimeter with a breaker bar and break both of these bolts loose. To have the caliper off, you'll need a brake caliper compression tool set. And I believe it's letter F for the rear calipers. One thing a lot of people don't mention when putting the caliper back on, once you have the pads in the caliper, you're gonna need to get a flathead or whatever you have and push these slider rods back in, or else you're not gonna be able to get the caliper back on. Alright, so we got everything set up to go in the back. New brake pads, new wheel bearings, new rotors, new shocks, new springs, and we're gonna change the brake fluid. So in the rear, I'm going to walk you through all the sizes you're going to need. To remove the brake caliper, you'll need a 13 millimeter wrench and some Sometimes you'll need a 19 to hold these pieces right here. Mine didn't spin. You'll need a 21 millimeter to remove that guy. You'll need a 14 millimeter triple square to remove the brake caliper bracket bolts. There's 2 of them. You'll need a T30 Torx bit to remove the security bit for the rotor. You'll need a 16 millimeter socket and extension to remove those bolts. And you'll need a 18 millimeter triple square to remove the wheel bearing bolt if you're changing your wheel bearings. One last bolt to remove this bolt right here. It's an 18 millimeter. Changing out the pads on your car. If your new pads came with new slides, change them out with the new ones. I got some old ones in here too, but make sure you grease it up. Finishing up the right rear. About to install everything again. You got the rotors and the wheel bearings done. Had to get a new bump stop because the original one was totally destroyed. Alright, got all this back together. Now I'm gonna bleed the brakes. Got my bleeder valves ready to go. Gonna fill her up, give her some pressure, start bleeding. To get your control arm off, you're gonna have to support the engine slightly so that you can remove the bolt that goes into the control arm. Right here.
Come out, you fucking cunt.
Otherwise, you won't have enough.
Censored, X-rated, edit, cut. This side is out.
Decided to replace the wheel bearings in the front as well. We still had some noise at high speed. Now we're changing out the control arm on the passenger side.
And here she is.
And there it goes. It's just 3 bolts, some old man muscle power, and then a bolt that goes through here. Alright, brand new bearing. Cleaned it up as best I could with a wire brush and a chisel. Instead of buying new hardware, I just cleaned up the threads with the tap and die set. They're good now. So hope she goes in. Alright, that's not bad. Yeah, first try.